Hello, I'm Alexis from BSC Designer. In this video, I'm going to talk about one interesting aspect of using AI in strategic planning is working with existing strategy. Actually, very specific, very function-oriented question is how to import an existing strategy using AI. So what's the rationale behind this talk? Most of organizations, most of companies already have the strategy in some or another form, and likely those are the spreadsheets. What's wrong with the current format? What's wrong with the spreadsheets? We discussed this a lot. The main problem is scaling this approach. So it works when you have just few goals, few objectives, few KPIs. But when you need to scale, you will face the problems of data consistency, you will face the problem of tracking access rights, problems related to managing evidences, tracking who accesses the data and where and who changed it, a lot of things like this. So it's not the question of if you need it, it's a question of your scale. At a certain scale, you need to move from spreadsheets, you need to move somewhere, because it will take you more time to maintain these spreadsheets. Now, the question is where you move to and how to move there quickly without a lot of effort. To illustrate this, I have here a very small example, a tiny example of how a strategy might look like in Excel. According to my experience, normally you don't have it like on one screen, you have it on various spreadsheets, on various workbooks. It's more complex in reality, but let's give it a try with this simple example. It's quite typical. So I have here some perspectives, goals, indicators, weights, units, values, targets, initiatives, budgets, all the classical stuff. Now, my first idea was, okay, before using our platform to manage this, to import in our platform, why not use some LLM and why not give it a try and see if, for example, ChatGPT can help me. So what I did, I simply copied all this and pasted in ChatGPT without any specific prompt. I just asked, make a strategy scorecard out of this data. Yeah. And I must say that the results are pretty impressive. Here I have the Excel generated by ChatGPT. Here it repeats my data. It added some redesign. It also created a dashboard for me with some charts. It also listed my source data, some lists. I guess these are the initiatives or something like this. It's pretty impressive. And frankly saying, when I was given a try, different prompts, it can even do a better job. Yeah, so it can create you some fancy spreadsheet with some charts, some dashboards. It's really good. But the question is, why don't we continue in ChatGPT? Why LLMs are not that good? And actually, why the output? Because in my prompt, I have not asked it to create a spreadsheet, but the output is typically always in a spreadsheet. Well, that's because the LLM is not suitable for maintaining our strategy. So it tries to create some tangible artifact, a spreadsheet in this case. And it helps to solve the problem, but to a certain degree. It helps to solve the design problem. Probably it will fix some formulas, but the problems that we have started with, the problems maintaining spreadsheets, the problems of data consistency, the problems of measuring performance correctly, they will be still there. So it's not the question if you can create a nice spreadsheet with some specific prompt. You can do this. The question is if you will be able to maintain it, if you will be able to continue using it. Yeah, so I'm starting to create a rationale for using specialized platform like our BSC Designer. And let's see what if we import the same spreadsheet into the platform, and let's see what will happen. To do this, I will create a new blank scorecard, remove everything I don't need, and copy paste this data. I'm going to AI tab, and I will use one of the predefined prompts, which is import data from Excel. Intentionally, I won't touch this predefined template, so I will just, I will just copy and paste the data I have. I run the prompt, and in a minute we'll get back to see what will happen. So here I have the response of AI to my initial query. Instead of just reviewing it, I will click execute all, and I will switch to strategy map to see how it's working. So I see the objectives are created one by one. I see the initiatives are added. What should happen then? Let's see if this data was loaded. Yeah, I see also that the data was loaded. So that's how this imported strategy looks in BSC Designer. Let's have a look if it actually was imported correctly. So for example, financial sustainability, we have two goals. Let's check if we have them. So we have financial sustainability, improve profits. Yeah, okay, I was wrong. There's just one goal for financial sustainability and two indicators. So far, so good. We have these two indicators. And what else? Here we have two weights. In this experiment, they were imported correctly. So I see them applied here to these two indicators. Let me check others. It happened as well. This import was correct. Measurement units. Here I have dollars, here I have percentage, here I have something like this. And yeah, I think some of them were applied correctly. That's surprising. And also the data for a certain period. That's interesting part. I have data for August, September, October, December, but I have not specified what year this data should be. And AI decided that this data is for 2025. So obviously this was something that I could fix here in the initial prompt. I could say, consider that all the data is for 2026, but AI assumed that it is for 2024. Targets, let's check the initiatives. For initiative, I have this one. And well, that's actually not the most correct way to import. So instead of importing the budget into budget field, it imported it here. So that's it. Similar procedure for importing data like we did here in ChatGPT that generated some spreadsheet. But in this case, it was imported into the software. This time we had luck and most of the data was imported correctly. Sometimes I noticed that the weights were not imported or measurement units were not set correctly. It helps to ask AI to review the data once more and update necessary metrics if needed. And yeah, why we did this? What happened? What changed? What changed when we moved to the specialized software? Well, it's a little bit more structured now. Yeah, we have more control of our data. We can define the consistency rules. Like if we want this indicator to be updated monthly, quarterly, how we want the platform to control the updates. We have more control over all this data. We can define evidence frameworks for each of the indicators. We can upload this evidence. We can discuss all these metrics here. We can link one scorecard to another. A lot of things that will prepare our strategy for scaling. And the purpose of this video is that in most of the cases, you don't start from scratch. You already have some strategy. And if you have it in a really structured format like this one, you can import it using a deterministic function that will import from your Excel, recognizing columns, associating these columns with the metrics, with the goals. But if your strategy is in a lot of different spreadsheets with not fixed format, no specific rules that those spreadsheets follow, using this deterministic function might be a problem. In this case, go to AI and use a predefined prompt to import your data into the specialized platform.